and books fans, this is Sculpt 1701, and tonight we are going to be taking a look at the Marvel Legends The Amazing Spider-Man Renew Your Vows 2-pack. Yes, this is the awesome brand new Marvel Legends 2-pack that is hitting stores right now, featuring your favorite friendly neighborhood Spider-Man and Mary Jane Watson Parker taking on the role of a new superhero called Spinneret. Now this 2-pack comes to us from The Amazing Spider-Man Renew Your Vows, Volume 2. The first volume was like a 5-issue miniseries, and it didn't really have Mary Jane as Spinneret. She was in there, and it kind of introduced the characters and the alternate timeline, and they had a daughter named Annie, which later became Spiderling. And I think it's kind of strange that they didn't make this a 3-pack and just throw her in there. But anyway, we may get a Spiderling down the road. But first off, let's take a look at this awesome 2-pack. First of all, it comes in the new closed box system, and I'm very hesitant about this. I don't really like it, but this is how Hasbro's decided to do business, and until they get major complaints because of swapped out figures, I don't think we're going to see anything different anytime soon. So anyway, taking a look at the box, you have the figures right here, you have some nice artwork of the characters in the background, you have Spider-Man, Marvel's Legends series, Marvel's Spinneret, The Amazing Spider-Man Renew Your Vows, warnings, Hasbro. On the top of the box you get this cool Spider-Man 60 Amazing Years logo, and I think that is awesome. On this side of the box you have some more artwork of Spider-Man and Spinneret. You have Marvel Legends. On this side of the box, toy versions, Marvel Legends, and that is cool. On the bottom of the box, you get some credits for the box and a barcode in half of a Spider-Man head, so that's neat. And finally, on the back of the box, you get the product shots, Marvel Legends, Spider-Man and Spinneret, the accessories, and some more credits for the box, and it is really cool. But that is enough about this box. No one wants to see them in the box. I know I don't, so let's get them out and see what they can do. And here we have Spider-Man and Spinneret out of the box, and thankfully they were both in there. And as you can see, they come together and they have alternate hands, alternate heads, and they're going to be a great little pair to take a look at. But because we have two figures, I always like to do one at a time, and I think I will start with the voracious redhead Spinneret. And coming in real close in on Spinneret, we can see she is just a beautiful, beautiful figure. Now, I do have to confess, I never read the Volume 2 of Renew Your Vows where she came up, so I don't really know how she got her powers. From what I understand, though, that her powers came from the suit here, which is basically mimicking that of Peter's powers. So that is interesting. I think she also traded this up for a black one, and that turned out to be Venom. But either way, that's neither here nor there. Taking a look at the figure that they gave to us, I really, really like her. She comes in at 6 inches tall, and she is done in this beautiful red and white spider motif, and she is just a dainty little figure. Let's zoom out just a little bit because she is tall. So take a look. Her hair is done nice. It's pulled up in a bun, but you got some nice little locks coming off the side. You can see her ears molded in there. Coming around to the front, you have this nice spider mask. It's almost reminiscent of Spider-Woman's, I think, because you just have the eyes, and it's red and white and black. It has a nice little face and nose sculpted in there. Got some red lipstick. I like that. Same on this side as for the locks and the ears, and that comes down to a nice neck with some cobweb motif all the way down. Classic Spider-Man suit, almost as if it was done in the negative though. Instead of blue, you got white, and you got a lot of cobweb details. I like that. Nothing on the forearms, which is kind of surprising. I figured they'd do a little stripe or something, but it just stops at the shoulders. Nice white spider symbol on the chest there. And coming down, I don't know if these are supposed to be shorts, skirt, I don't know how that is, but it is pretty neat. And then you basically got white for the legs. Let's zoom out some more. And then you have these cute little shoes, two-toned red and white. Now, these are two separate pieces when it comes to the shoes. Let me zoom in a little bit, and I can show you that this little top piece, it can come up and down, so you can actually raise it a little bit if you don't want it to be lower, but I think that looks pretty neat. I'm not sure how she wears these. I don't know if that is actually a boot that's just folded down, but I don't know. It looks pretty neat. And then on the back of her, you have the nice red spider and basically everything else you would expect for the costume to carry through with. All right, and that's what Spinneret looks like. Moving on. And for articulation, she has got a lot. She can move her head around 360 degrees. It is on a hinge, so it can kind of look down a long way. It can look up. It can wiggle and waggle, so that is really cool. You do have kind of a neck bobble, so if you want to do that. Coming down to the shoulders, shoulders can go around 360 degrees. They are on a hinge, so they can go up. Not a long way, because she's kind of a dainty little thing, but you do get a little bit of motion, and then they can go down. You do have a bicep swivel all the way around 360 degrees. Nice elbow bend, double jointed. It doesn't have pins, so that is awesome. And then you can come down. Forearm rotation is not there, and you do have hand articulation, which will swivel around all the way around, and it can go up and down with her thwippy hand there, so that is cool. Coming down to the chest, she does have an upper diaphragm, which will allow her to go around 360 degrees, and you can go back a long way with it and then forward, so that is kind of your ab crunch as well. There is nothing here at the waist, so your rotation is going to be up here at the diaphragm area, and that will bring you down to the legs. Legs can go up a long way. She can get some high kicks. Back, not so far because the butt gets in the way. Out to the side, you get a little bit of that. Do have a thigh rotation, 360 degrees. Double blend gives you a lot of motion there. And coming down to your foot, you'll have to move the little cuff thing around, but you do get a rocker and a hinge, so the foot can go up and down, and it can go all the way around the world when you want to move it that way. All right, that is going to be Spinneret's articulation, and she can just wiggle all sorts of ways. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Moving on. And for Spinneret's first accessory, we'll take a look at this beautiful alternate head where her hair is down and she's unmasked. And this is just so gorgeous. I do think that this is reused from the Gwen Stacy classic Spider-Man figure that they gave us last year or so. It's just painted with a lighter hair, and that's okay with me. I really like the Mary Jane heads. This is cool. It goes all the way down here, you can see, and there is a little bit of wash in the hair to make it more defined. And that is just beautiful. I kind of want the best of both worlds now. I kind of want this head sculpt with a mask to see how that looks, but who knows, maybe they'll give us one down the road. Alright, moving on. And for Spinneret's last accessory, she comes with 3 sets of hands. She has a set of punching hands, which is really nice for her to take down villains. She has a set of wall crawling hands, and they're open and displayed so she can climb up and down walls. And finally, she has a set of thwipping hands, which is where she's activating her web shooters, and boom, she can swing around the city. So I really kind of wish they get some web effects with these figures, but they didn't. So these are her alternate hands. Moving on. And full comparison, here she is with Rogue, Jean Grey, Firestar, and Scarlet Witch. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again, Marvel Legends does make some pretty female figures, and these are really, really awesome. Only bad thing about these figures is they don't stand very well. I'm not going to tell you how long it took me to get these ladies standing how you see them right now, but it was a while. All right, moving on. And this has been the lovely Mary Jane Watson as Marvel's Spinneret. Now, let's go check in on something amazing. Whew, looking good, honey. And that brings us to the amazing Spider-Man himself. And this is such an awesome looking figure. I love how they did this figure. And it is a brand new sculpt for the brand new day Spider-Man. And I do think that this is going to be the bigger draw of the 2-pack other than Spinneret, even though that's a brand new figure, because Everybody loves a new Spider-Man mold because he is such a classic character and iconic for Marvel, and he is just so cool. So taking a close look at him, I'm going to zoom up as close as I can on this awesome head sculpt, and you can see it is so Spider-Man. It is red with the cobweb design. You have huge white eyes with some black around them, and this is just great. It's even amazing. It's spectacular, and any other adjectives that appeared in the Spider-Man comics. Alright, so zooming out again, you can see it is the classic Spider-Man costume, red, blue, cobweb design, huge spider on the chest. Now, some would argue that that spider on the chest is a little too big. Yeah, maybe drop it down a peg or two, but for the most part, I think the one on the retro card series may have been a little small, so just, you know, sort of like playing Three Bears with it. This one's too big, that one's too small, maybe find one that's just right. But anyway, you can see he has his classic blue coming on under the arms and on his pants. The blue may be a little too dark for some people, but it doesn't bother me. I liked the old Todd McFarlane drawings when it was almost black. Actually, a lot of it was black and red, but anyway, this is really cool, coming down to the midsection, and then you got the belt section, and then the blue pants, and then the red boots. Love this. I love the arm design. You can see it is pinless. There is no pins in there. Even on the inside, that is so cool. So coming around to the back, same thing. You have this huge red spider on the back, and if you move the torso to line it back up, you do have a little bit of paint gappage there if you don't have the torso lined up correctly, but that's okay. And then again, the spider's legs on the back will be kind of hindered if you don't have the butterfly at just the right angle. It will look kind of weird. But for the most part, I'm glad they put all the detail into it. And that's what this cool new Spider-Man looks like. Moving on. And for our articulation, starting at the head can go around 360 degrees. It can look down, it can look up a long way, and it get a little wiggly waggly. Now, what's interesting thing about this head is you go around, there is a kind of a gap in the neck, and I don't know if I like that, but I think it does allow the joint of the head to kind of squeeze through and move a little more freely, although if you look at it certain ways, it really breaks your sculpt and looks kind of weird, but I don't know. It's something you can like deal with, whatever you have his head, different ways. All right, coming down to his shoulders. Shoulders can go around 360 degrees, and they are on a butterfly hinge, so you can go in and out with them, so that is neat. He does have a bicep rotation, 360 degrees. He does have a double jointed elbow bend, which gets you all the way up, so that is really good. A lot of motion there. And then coming down, he does not have a forearm rotation, but he does have fist rotation. All the fist will go around 360 degrees, and they will hinge. All the hands have hinges, so you can go in and out with them. So that will bring us down to the chest. Chest has 2 points of articulation. He does have an abdomen rotation right here, and it can go all the way around 360 degrees, and it can go back, and it can go forward, and it can wiggle and waggle, so that is pretty cool. That will bring you down to his waist, which isn't really waist articulation as much as it is an ab crunch right here. So you can go forward with that, and you can go back with that a long way, so that is pretty neat. And that will bring us down to the legs. Legs can go out a long way. They can go back not as far because, like with Mary Jane, the butt gets in the way, and a little bit out to the side. You do have thigh rotation, 360 degrees all the way around, and you do have a double knee bend, which gets you a good range there, so that is very nicely done. Has a boot cut, goes all the way around 360 degrees. A lot of people will like that. Has a foot hinge. Foot will go up, foot will go down. Foot will go all the way around the world for the rocker and rotation. And he does have toe articulations that goes up and down. So I think that's something that not a lot of Spider-Man have had, toe articulation, which would kind of make sense that he has it since he likes to climb up walls and stuff. But anyway, that is so much articulation for this guy, and Spider-Man needs all the articulation that he can get because he's Spider-Man. All right, moving on. And for his first accessory, Spider-Man comes with this alternate Peter Parker head, and I think this is very well done. I love the look of this thing. You just have the windswept hair, and it's all brown, and you got some nice brown eyebrows and some dark eyes and a very kind of a smirky little smile there, so I like that. And some ears molded in there, so that is cool. Coming around to the back. As long as you have it down, you are not going to be able to see that gap as much, but if you move it up a little bit, you'll still see that. But really, I guess it's not important. Nobody really displays their figures from the back, so this is pretty much what you're going to be looking at, and I love that. And that's going to be your alternate head. Moving on. And like Spinneret, Spider-Man comes with 3 sets of alternate hands. He has a pair of fisty hands that are nice for the old 1-2, bam bam. He has a pair of wall crawling hands if he's trying to get up somewhere really quickly. And he has a pair of whipping hands where he is shooting his web. Again, wish they gave us some web effects of some sort, but they did not. But these are really cool design hands. Anyway, the cobweb designs for the costume follows through his hands. But anyway, those are gonna be your alternate hands. Moving on. And for our first comparison, here you have the Renew Your Vows Spider-Man with the classic retro Spider-Man. And you can see the Renew Your Vows Spidey is a little taller than the classic, and that's okay, I guess. The colors are almost the same. You got a little, I want to say brighter red, but darker blue, as opposed to the darker red and the brighter blue here. And I like that the cobweb designs are a little further apart here on the Renew Your Vows Spider-Man as opposed to the really close cobweb of the classic Spider-Man. So, I don't know. It's a preference thing. And if you are curious, yes, we can interchange the parts. We can place the Renew Your Vows Spider-Man head on the classic Spider-Man body, and it looks okay. And you can put the classic Spider-Man head on the Renew Your Vows Spider-Man, and that looks, I think, a little off because I think the head is a little small for that body. But the Peter Parker head works great for both. If you want to put that on the classic, that is very cool. And if you want to throw the classic Spider-Man in with Spinneret, I doubt she'll be able to tell the difference. And that's going to be your comparison with the retro Spider-Man. Moving on. And for our last comparison, here you have Spider-Man with a slew of other different characters. Now, I know what you're thinking. I've committed an ultimate crime against comicdom and toydom by crossing different universes and worlds, but I can point to you specific issues where Spider-Man has met with each and every one of the characters he is assembled here with today. I guarantee you that he has met them all. All right, and they are Thunderstrike, Wolverine, Cyclops, Superman, Batman, and Optimus Prime. Believe it or not, yes, he has met all of these characters. And hopefully this will give you a good idea of scale and proportion. And the DC Multiverse characters are always 7 inches, so he is going to be a little small compared to them. But with the X-Men and Thunderstrike, I think he works really well. And this makes me wish I had an actual Daredevil. All right, moving on. And this has been the new Marvel Legends series, The Amazing Spider-Man Renew Your Vows 2-pack, featuring Spider-Man and Marvel's Spinneret. And when they first revealed these figures, even though I had never seen Spinneret, I had to have it. It was Mary Jane, and she was in this really cool costume. brand new Spider-Man mold that everybody's going to be clamoring for, and I just thought this was an awesome looking pair, and I was not disappointed with the figures. The Spinneret figure was very nicely done. I love the colors on her. I love the alternate head. I thought the costume design was really neat for her. Like I said, I thought it harkened back to the Spider-Woman costume when it came to the mask, and the little boots on her where it can move up and down. That is pretty neat. And for the most part, yeah, she's just cool. I liked playing with her, and she's a little dainty, and like I said, very hard to stand, but once you get her in a cool pose, she can stay, as you can see here. The Spider-Man figure, classic Spider-Man, can never go wrong with the red and blue. I think the larger eyes, I think, is more indicative of these days. They like to show him with large eyes. Kind of reminds me of my favorite Spider-Man artist, Mark Bagley. He had a good take on Spider-Man. So yeah, the new body here with the additional articulation was perfect with the toes and all the other stuff. So I have no complaints about this Spider-Man. Maybe the spider on the chest is a little big, but that is just a nitpick. So if you are looking for this box set, I got mine at Target for $53, but they are also hitting online retailers as well. Haven't seen it at Walmart. I'm not sure if it's going to go there. It is in the closed box, so that gives me worries. So if you find it on the shelf and you go and buy it in the wild, I would suggest before you leave the parking lot of the store, open it up, maybe see if your figures are in there, and if not, you won't get all the way home and get disappointed. But then again, if you're an inbox collector, well, this is going to be the risk you're going to have to take with the way Hasbro is doing things now. If you see this and you're interested, highly recommend. And that's going to be the video, guys. If you're looking for this set, happy hunting, and until next time, keep playing.